about
I
Grosse
grew
Pointe?
up in Edgemere, so Bethlehem Steel's red dust was always a factor. The traffic was always a factor coming through Edgemere, and it was always a busy time because everybody worked for the point. You know, it was just what you did and what the neighbors did. My Uncle Lonnie worked for the point way before I did. Matter of fact, I started down there in the 70s, and he was getting ready. He was looking forward to retirement back then. That's how long he had been down there. He started working down there when he was 13 years old, because back then you didn't need proof of your age. You just needed to look like you were eligible, and he was 6'4" at 13. So he started working.
Mm.
And he was a pipe fitter, so they naturally had a little heart attack when they realized when he was 21 how long he had been working down there, but by then the bosses didn't care, he was good. So, like I said, he was one of 10 children, so it was a necessity to go to work. It wasn't a pleasure to go to work. And, but he was a hearty eater. So my house wasn't that far from the point. I mean, you could literally really walk to the point. And so every morning for breakfast, he would come to our house, eat a dozen eggs, a pound of bacon, and a half a loaf of bread, and go back to work. And that was my mother's routine with him for years, it seems like. But he would always cut around and leave a tip on the table. And actually what he was doing was paying for a dozen eggs, a pound of bacon, and the coffee so he could come back the next day. But we grew up with, it was a good place to work. It was dirty. And if you didn't mind getting dirty and you didn't mind working hard, it was an honest job. And that's all you needed to know. I was a single mom working in a restaurant and just was not making ends meet. You know, I was living with my mother and my father. And so I decided, well, I need a better job. And I was working down on D Street in one of the restaurants. And the guys would come in, you know, at lunchtime, and the doctors would come in at lunchtime and order breakfast and lunch and all this sort of stuff. And they go, "Hey, Sharon, we're hiring." And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Come on down, fill out an application." And I finally decided, well, it was a Friday, you know. I'm like, all right, I'll go down. So I went down, simple test, CCAT run type thing, you know. Went and saw the doc. He goes, "Oh yeah, you're like 5 pounds overweight." He goes, "That's not nothing." He goes, "Okay." And I go, "Okay, what?" And they go, "You start Monday." And I went, "What?" And they go, "Yeah, just wear a pair of dungarees, you know, a regular shirt, and come on down."
And when was this?
This was August the 20th of 1973.
Okay.
And so I went down, and they go, well, they sent me over to the rod and wire mill, which was my first experience working in a steel mill, which was great because the rod and wire mill was already used to women. So when I got there, my first experience was, you know, the foreman still wasn't too sure what to do to me, because even though they were used to women, they weren't used to women in my department.